Are you ready?
I was ready.
All right, here we go.
Ooh.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your favorite podcast. You know the name.
Riffin with Griffin, yeah.
Woo, woo, woo! Ooh. We do it live. Riffin with Griffin.
Riffin with Griffin.
Now, this is the singing mic, and I always offer the singing mic to the guest. What you got?
You're gonna talk about things that you don't really care, but it'll make them interesting in his underwear. Think about it.
That's all you got?
Oh, you want me to go longer?
You good. It's up to you. What you got?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just a Jew living on the other side of town. I gotta look for a parking space on this side now. And Erik Griffin's got a pretty good spot, but got a hole in his ceiling, man, and it's rot. I tried to get up the stairs and there's water. I took up the stairs and I thought I saw his daughter, but it was neighbor. It wasn't his. And now we're gonna start rapping on this podcast, sis.
Woo! Woo, woo, woo! Yeah, yeah, yeah! Mr. Michael Rosenbaum!
I love them. It's like a Michael McDonald. I keep forgetting. You like going, hey, baby.
People love the woo-woos.
I love the woo-woos. Hashtag woo-woo.
Let's just get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast for the first time. I am actually a longtime fan of this guy, but welcome to the podcast, Mr. Michael Rosenbaum.
Thank you. And I didn't know you were a fan until you just told me, because I had done some stand-up. I was starting to do some stand-up.
Yeah.
I'd see you around. You're always real kind, but you never came up to me and went, hey, I'm a fan.
Yeah, because like, you know why? It's because like you're doing the stand-up thing, and I know how that is. I know how tough it is to do stand-up.
You know,
yeah, then you're already in your head about like, I don't belong here. Everybody thinks I'm just an actor, and I know all the things you were going through in your head. So I was like, let me not even like go into it with you, so because you'll find your way. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. I didn't think about that till just now, but you're right. If you came up to me and go, oh, I'm a big fan, then you're there, then I'm like, oh my God, I have to be good, even better now because Erik's here.
You know, whatever your
He's a
thought
fan.
process. Yeah. But I am a fan. You were Lex Luthor on Smallville for like 17 years, right?
Seven years. It felt like
it felt like a long
yeah.
time. But what I think about Smallville was always like, I love the idea that, okay, he's never going to be in the Superman suit, and it's always going to be like the but like after like 7 years, it's like, bro, Clark Kent is looking old as hell.
Well, they would dye his grays. You know what happened is I think that, it was always the story before the story. It was always like they had the rule. It was like no flights, no tights.
Right.
And so that was sort of the thing. And so with me, even though I talk about this on my podcast, but people always are like, why did you leave? I'm like, my contract was 6 years. I actually did 7.
Right.
I didn't leave. I just didn't add on years.
You just didn't want to do it anymore.
Oh, and Kevin Smith. Fuck, I love you, Kevin. I've said it before, but it goes every time you hear him, it's like, yeah, he left the show.
Oh, right.
I didn't leave the show. I decided not to come back.
Yeah, you just decided not to do it anymore.
Well, yeah, my obligation was fulfilled. I did what I was supposed to do, but I just was like, you know what? I'm ready to do some other stuff.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Because at what point did you go? Because one, you're not bald. So
no, look at this. You want to see it?
No.
I want you to hold it. I want you to pull it. Pull it. Oh, God damn, man. What the fuck, Griffin?
So I totally get that, like, you're like, this is a lot. I have to become this character. I have to, like, shave my head. I have to be Lex Luthor for, like, and it's like, it's going on 6, 7, and then you're just like, you know what? I'm done.
I think it was more, and that's the thing. Other people come up to me and go, did you wear a ball cap? I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
They shave me every day.
Right.
And believe it or not, I'm glad they did, because I didn't really feel like Lex Luthor. I'm a goofball,
Right.
I'm joking, and I'm always whipping.
Well, you're a thespian.
Yeah, and my friends were like, they couldn't believe when I got Lex Luthor. They're like, come on, dude. And I thought, too, they're going to fire me. But when I shaved my head on set, except for this little weird bump in the back, I was like, it became more intense. Like I felt, even though then, I'm single and goth chicks like me.
Right.
More, and it was colder. And when I had a head full of makeup, I couldn't lie down. So
I'm a lot of candle for you too.
Did I fart?
No.
Did I fart? Like you would know.
You did bring some salmon in the.
Oh, did it smell? But I thought it was one of those salmons that don't smell. What kind of salmons don't smell?
Yeah, exactly.
Did I smell up your shit?
This diva comes in with a.
I had to eat. I had to eat, and I wanted to eat healthy.
With salmon and potatoes. Nothing for me, by the way.
Yeah. But look, man, I cherish it. I love it. I think I even love it more now that it's gone. I don't have any regrets. I bought my house. The fans are spectacular. I go to conventions. I was just in New Orleans. I'm going to Portland at the end of this month, and Mexico, and it's endless. And like you can go there. And Tom and I, who was Clark Kent, we sign autographs. And
Tom Welling, great. He's great.
And we do Smallville nights. We created this thing called Smallville Nights, where we do this little improv show for diehard fans. And it's it's actually really good and fun. I wear a ball cap.
I'm ready to. I'm gonna come.
You mean right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna come right now. And then I'm gonna.
Yeah. What was the thing you did?
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Is that how you ejaculate? I thought your girlfriend would love that, wouldn't her?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Yeah, after the first time, but I don't know about after that.
Yeah.
So. No, but that's amazing that you're still, because I was on Workaholics, so I'm forever gonna be Montez.
And you were great. You did that 4 years?
7 years.
That was 7 years? How many episodes though? Did they?
I wasn't in every episode.
Right.
But still, it was such a jarring thing. That character was so different from everybody else that it's like, I walk out in the streets and people are like, "It's Montez." So I embraced it. So what I'm hearing from you is that you're going to be Lex Luthor for a long time, and you're okay with it.
Yeah, I think there's some immaturity levels. Let's be honest. I'm still very immature for my age, but you're in your 20s. I think you think about fame more. It's like, I want to be famous. Right. I want everybody to know me. This is so cool. And for me, it was like instant gratification, and it was just like, they like me. And it's attention, and I didn't get, certain things as a kid. So, these things felt real to me.
Yeah.
And then once you start to go through shit and you live life and you experience and you start being grateful and taking a step back, you're like, God, I'm fucking lucky. If I'm just Lex Luthor for the rest of my life, how lucky is that? If I die in that, people, they troll, and people will say about every actor.
Right.
What are they doing? What's Erik doing after Workaholics?
Yeah.
What's Rosenbaum doing? What was his... I was on the biggest show on television, one of them.
Yeah.
And so you could only go down.
Back when people were actually watching TV, too.
Watch TV, no social media.
Yeah.
And, I look back, and and Tom and I are still friends. I'm friends with everybody on the set, except there's one person that, I was friends with her, and then things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to get in that if you want to.
I would love to.
No, but I'm just... so look, you learn. I'm so grateful. Anybody who knows me knows that I just
it's the house that Lex built. Who cares, right?
Yeah, man. It's awesome. And now I'm also lucky where I like to do the things that I want to do. And sometimes people don't understand that, but I don't know when I'm gonna die. I could die tomorrow. So why don't I just try to do everything I can now the way I want it, instead of thinking I should do this because other people think I should do that and I'm going to make them happy. You got to make yourself happy.
Yeah, I totally get you, because I think we're in the same age bracket.
How old are
it's
you?
like I'm late 40s.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. You don't tell your age?
Yeah, it's just because who cares? I'm 47. Who
Yeah,
cares?
me too.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
March 12th.
July 11th.
Yeah, see what I mean?
Just barely older.
Yeah, you old fuck.
I know. I am.
Old bitch.
I feel it.
But what I'm saying is it's like you do what you do. Obviously I'm still in this little townhouse thing, so I didn't make Lex Luthor money, but
it doesn't matter, because let me tell you something.
But I'm happy. I didn't mean to. It's not. I'm saying I'm happy. I was always a person that I wanted to save instead of buy something. So
yeah.
So I'm saving because I like to travel.
I save.
And
I'm
I was
Jewish.
Single. Yeah, of course you save.
Yeah.
You have every penny you've ever made, right?
Yeah, I have. But it's true. It doesn't matter. I was living with 4 guys in a 1-bedroom in New York trying to become an actor.
Right.
And those were the happiest moments of my life. And I look back and I go, what made it happy? You were happy because, and look, happy's kind of, comes in and out. You make you happy.
Yeah.
But I think it's about connection. It's about people. It's about feeling like you're doing something good. And it's not about how famous you are or the money you're making. It really is, if you can change people's lives or affect people's, then you're here for a reason. It's purpose. And that's what it is.
But don't you think it's two different phases of I feel like when you were living in the 1-bedroom apartment, that was the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. And in that pursuit, you don't realize that is actually happiness, because I have this purpose and I'm trying to do it. But then when you actually made it, isn't it strange that you found yourself, that's when unhappiness would filter in. You'd be like, oh man, I'm stuck in this, or I don't like my contract, or I'm not getting enough stuff, or
not being present.
I'm not. Yes.
Yeah. I go on hikes. I'm going to name drop. I do a thing when I name drop.
What do you do?
Well,
Careful.
yeah, break shit, put another hole in your ceiling. But when you name drop, you just drop something.
Oh.
So it's like, so I went
Dropped the hat.
hiking with Jason Patrick.
Oh, you dropped. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason. So Jason's been a friend of mine, and we go on hikes once a week. That's it. He has a kid. He's a great dad, and we just take a 2-hour hike and we talk about life and stuff. And he said something pretty profound, and I probably won't articulate it as well as he did, but it was more or less what he was saying is, even when you're famous, when all this stuff is going on, it's always the next thing. What's next?
Yes.
What's around the corner? What is this setting it up to be? I'm teeing myself up for this. And you're not going, wow, dude, this is great. It's never, and you have to force yourself to do that. You have to engage. You have to force yourself to be present and enjoy things.
It was season 3 of Workaholics that I thought to myself, I need to go on a vacation. And it was the first vacation of my life. Like, I really where I paid for it.
Where'd you go?
I took a buddy of mine. We went to the Cook Islands off the coast of New Zealand. It's like
How was it?
It's like Hawaii of New Zealand. First day, I was like, oh man. And then the second day, I put my phone down. Third day, I just was like looking at the sun and enjoying that. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do with myself. Yeah. So I'm saying it's like, I think we have to because we oftentimes think, oh God, I'll never work again. It's like every time you leave a set, you go, well, that's it. I
don't think like that anymore.
I used to. This is what I'm saying. This is what we did.
Yeah, I did this.
That's what we did. We like, okay, well, this is it. Or you stay on a project too long because you think, if I leave this, I'll never work at anywhere else. And so it's like, that's the thing that happens in our head, right?
Right. So you think, well, if I stay 3 more years, man, that's going to put a lot of money in my pocket.
Right.
And then I could live longer. I could live all that. And I thought, well, you just did 7 years and you made decent money. You're not like DiCaprio money, you're not going to live the rest of your life on this, but you know what? I should just try to enjoy things. I don't need to do how many years do we get? And every year, like if you add up what's 7 years divided by 47, I mean, when I quit at the time, I didn't quit. See, I said I quit. When I left,
when you moved,
I didn't leave. When my contract expired, God damn it.
Yeah, but you didn't sign another one, and they wanted you to come back. Okay?
Right.
So you're just tomatoes. All right.
If it was 10 years ago, and let's say I was 35, so 7 years, 35. That's like a fifth, 7, 4, 28, 35.
Yeah.
A fifth of your life already. So when is it enough? When is, I don't understand. And you could tell me that I'm saying this because I'm not them and I'm not rich and maybe I don't, and maybe they love work. But all these folks, these celebrities that have so much money, like what's her name, who I love, Patricia Heaton.
Uh-huh.
They do series after series.
And
they were making $1 million an episode and they have over hundreds of millions of dollars. There's no way I'm doing anything for anybody with $100 million, $50 million, $20 million, $10 million. I'm living my own life. I'm doing what I want. I'm going to get a movie together for $1 million and put all my friends in it. And that's what I did. And I'm going to, these are the things I just don't get it when they're like, well, I just love work. You have a family, you have this, you could travel the world, and maybe they have. But it always baffles me, like they have to work or they're stressed. Something's going on. Even,
So you win the lotto, you're out.
Dude, out. I'm out. Fucking I win the fucking Temecula lotto. I'm out if I hit the Fashion Square Mall lotto.
Yeah, I hear you.
But
some people, like I say, there are some people who are in love with money. I think a lot of performers, some of them have come up, they had tough times.
Yeah.
And, and it's just that is always in their head. And I guess too, there's just people that just love, it's not just work. Let's not even call it work. They love performing. They love being in front of the camera.
But
they love
14 hours a day, every day, 22 episodes a year.
I know.
I don't find the joy in that.
Well, you don't.
Well, I mean, look, I'm also at a place where I was young enough where I made some money and I did it and I can get through it. But I remember those nights and those days and those
just being like, what am I doing?
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was just like, hey, I'm lucky and this is awesome. But I hope that I don't have to. It's hard to understand without sounding like a dick, because it's like doing something. It's great to do something because you love it.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're doing it and you're like, okay, I'm pretty good and I'm making money and people love me doing this, but you're like, I don't love it though. hate to say that, fuck, but I don't
No,
love
no,
it.
no. Listen, I told you how you've been expressing yourself right now. I already knew this. Like what you're saying right now. One is I know that you did not love being Lex Luthor on Smallville.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, no, I'm telling
No,
you, there was a point where you were like, "This is
There was a point.
great. I'm great at this. People love me at this. Like, why not? You know, you're a sports fan."
I mean, I follow some sports,
Okay,
but I'm
but
a New
anyway.
York fan, so it's hard to do that.
But there's a guy, Marcellus Wiley. He's on this show, Speak for Yourself. I'm going to have him on the podcast too. But he talks a lot. He was a great football player to the point where he was one of the highest paid players in the league at a certain point. But he talks about on the show all the time that he did it from. He wasn't about championships. He was about making money. I didn't need to get this money. So there are some people that like. I feel like he made it because he also went to an Ivy League school. I feel like he was like, "Hey, I'm a physical specimen. I could play football and make a lot of money from my family. So why not do that?" So I feel like
that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's not like he was like he may not have loved it as much as like people think you should love it, but he was like, "Nah, I auditioned." So for you, it's like, "Hey, I auditioned for this part. They loved me for it. I was a kid. I know Superman, and it's like this is great." But at a certain point, you're like, "Well, would I have chosen this for myself?"
Well, I think that dude, these are great points, and these are therapy sessions. For me.
Yeah.
In fact, my podcast, Inside of You, with Michael Rosenbaum, I'm telling you, this is what we talk. We have these like sessions where I really it was therapy for me, and then it became therapy for the guests, and then then the people they're listening. This is all. It's cool to talk about, but it also. Sometimes these things you're saying. No, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like I think.
Well, can I say something before you go on?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that you've dealt with this for so long because you have people. Because like you had some feelings about what you said about Kevin Smith. Like he left the show.
But I love Kevin.
No, I'm not. See, you
validating.
Really, you really care about what people think.
I know. Well, I'm less, but I do like Kevin. If I didn't, I'd be like, fuck that guy.
No, I know, but I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. He's a friend of yours, so you're like, and you really are adamant about saying like, I didn't quit, I just didn't get my. So like all those semantics that you're like dealing with in your head, I'm saying to you like, it's okay to be like, I got sick of it and I didn't want to come back. I don't think anybody's going to blame you for that.
No, yeah, but
you know what I mean? Not to say that that's what it was, but what I'm saying is it's okay.
Yes, I remember the president of Warner Brothers took me out to dinner, and he sat me down, and I had done other shows, show for 2 years, show for 1 year, pilots.
Listen, you were great as Lex Luthor.
Well, thank you.
Okay, no. Listen, if I was the president of Warner, I got to say this right now, I would be like, no, we got to get him back. No, Lex Luthor's got to come back. Like we can't have we can't not have Lex Luthor. He's so I get how they were like no, and I hope that they threw money at you and you still were like I don't want to do this anymore.
I have to say, when they threw money, it was weird. It was this conversation where he took me to dinner and I was like, look, I knew I wasn't doing it when he came in. It didn't matter. Unless, honestly, if they went like above and beyond. But he was just like, look, we can't give you an increase in pay. We're just going to give you what you were making in season 7 that's the truth. He just said, so they didn't offer me an increase. But it didn't really matter. I just was like, Peter, I really respect you and I thank you for the work. And, my grandma thinks I'm funny. And I don't know. My friends kind of think I'm funny, and I think I'm a little funny, and I did this serious part that no one ever thought I could do, and I did it for a long, long time, and I busted my ass to the point where I was like, I was losing my mind. I mean, I was losing my mind playing this role sometimes. I put so much into it, like in a straitjacket. I put so much into this, and that's why we'll get into that, the whole Lex and would I play him again, all that shit, because that I go, Peter, I loved it. I put everything into it, but I'm just done. Yeah. I am. I'm just done, and I want to go out. I want to go direct a movie, a little raunchy comedy that I wrote. I want to do some. I just want to start something new. I feel like, and I think he did not like the answer.
I was about to say,
there's no doubt when you say no to someone that big, their ego, for some reason, he couldn't understand that this was about me. It wasn't about him.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes hard in relationships. Sometimes it's like, this is about me, man. Yeah. I feel this way. Don't get mad at me because I feel this way. This is how I genuinely feel.
And by the way, you didn't owe him that.
I know.
But this is part, I could tell that this is part of your personality.
Making people happy.
Yes.
Trying to make people understand.
Yeah, that's sometimes it's a double-edged sword because you didn't need to tell him shit. You could have just said to him, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
And I'm out. Thank you for
I didn't
everything.
have to have dinner.
You didn't even have to have dinner.
That would
with
have been
us.
disrespectful.
Yes and no, but you could have, when he offered the dinner, you easily could have said, listen, I know what you want to say, and I don't want to waste your time. I respect you.
I'm not coming back.
I'm not coming back.
But then what if he said $4 million an episode?
You'd have been like,
Peter,
tell me what day I
Morton
need to come on set.
Steakhouse or GD Ritzy's. Yeah, you know.
No, but here's the thing too, though. I just hearing just that story, I'm not trying to, like, I would take offense because I'm like, don't tell me Lex is important to the show and then tell me that you're not going to get a pay raise. You know?
That's been, by the way, Tom can attest to this. It's been the story of my life when it comes to that. Sour grapes, it's just a fact. It's, you were talking about Crisis.
Yeah.
Right before we got on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay, by the way, there's this great... I love the CW. The CW has all my guilty pleasures, by the way. I love Vampire Diaries. I love the originals. And now I'm watching Legacies. I love those kind of like just nonsense.
Supergirl, The Flash,
I
Arrow.
love Supergirl. I don't watch The Flash. I don't watch Arrow. I can't get into too many relationships.
Well, I have a lot of those guests. Like I have some of those guests. There's, I just had Morena Baccarin from Gotham and Deadpool, and she's coming on, and like, so I get a lot like Stephen Amell and Catherine McNamara and a bunch of those guys come on, and they're great and they're wonderful. And I got text the day that I said no to that Infinite Crisis.
Okay, so what it is like, so what they do is they do a crossover of all the characters. So they have they even brought Black Lightning in.
Good for them.
On the crossover episode.
They are milking it.
So they were milking it, and they had all these characters, and Tom Welling did it.
Mm-hmm.
They even brought in
Erica Durance as Lois Lane.
Yeah, and the what's his name, Roth from the movies, the Superman movie.
Brandon Routh.
Right. He was in it. He's been in it actually. Good for him. And so they had this crisis, and then but the one person they were missing was their Lex Luthor.
Right. Let me explain exactly what happened. I'm just gonna. I tweeted this, and surprisingly, I thought I'd get lambasted, but everybody was like, dude, fuck them. I appreciate this. I mean, other actors. I was classy about it. I just said, listen, guys. When someone, I'm going to try and give you an analogy here.
Wait, can I
interject?
Can I interject?
You certainly can. It's your show.
No. Because
Riffin with Griffin.
No, because I feel you. I really do.
Yeah.
Don't act like you doing me a favor.
Well, for what?
No, I'm saying like the DC people and the Warner Brothers. They acting like they doing you a favor. Hey, we're gonna do this thing, and how about you? We're gonna let you come play Lex Luthor again.
Yeah,
and you're like, nah, bitch. Guess what?
Sometimes you
I'm doing you the favor.
Yeah, and that's the truth. That's the truth. I would have been doing them a favor.
You would have been doing them the favor
because if see, what people don't understand is I learned this not that long ago, but if you want somebody to do something, it's very simple. First, you be kind. You give them respect.
Yeah.
Erik, Workaholics is coming back. I think you're a fantastic actor. You're funny as shit. Your stand-up's brilliant. I want to work this out. I want to work it out for you to come back on Workaholics. Would you think about it before we even get in all the contracts and everything?
Yes, that's how they came at me. I would be because by the way, if they're talking about doing a Workaholics movie, or how they're bringing shows back, maybe Netflix is like, yo, bring back Workaholics. I mean, I was already dealing with some stuff with them, like in the end, like Comedy Central, like so we were like guaranteed a certain number of episodes of seasons 5 and 6,
right?
4 and 5, then 6 and 7. They decided to cut. Like it was me, Jillian, and Mary Beth. They actually cut our guarantee down to a certain number of episodes.
Respect.
Even though we got a raise, but it was a pay cut. Just
you're not
so
doing
it's like,
as many, so you're not making as much.
But the thing was, why I did it? Because they took away all the exclusivity. They said there's no exclusivity.
You can do whatever you want.
So I can do whatever I want. So I was like,
that's
cool. And then
it worked for you.
It worked for me. I was like, go get this free money, and then I ended up booking another show anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But so I know what you're saying. Like, don't come at me like.
It was very simple, too. It was very simple. I got a forward from my agent, and it said, Infinite Crisis. We need to know today if Michael's in or out. We don't have a script.
Bye.
We don't know when it's filming, but it's going to be sometime whenever, blah, 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 and this is how much he's getting. That's it. We need to know today. And it wasn't even, it was just laughable. I looked at my friend, I was like, It didn't, you know what it is? It's just stupid. Whoever sent that email is just stupid. First of all, you have someone call me. Hey, you played Lex on our network for 7 years. Some say the best. So, you know what? Give me a call.
Yeah.
How about you call me up as a human being and say, hey, dude, we're doing this. We want to include you. We loved you. Whatever. Just be a fucking
fans
human.
love you.
But no,
Yeah.
you send this. This is the day. This is when he's working. We want to know about a day. Fuck off.
Yeah.
It was just fuck off.
I totally get it.
It was.
Man.
It was just like, I laughed at it.
Yeah.
And by the way, another part of me is like, I was Lex Luthor for 7 years. It was a powerful, powerful role. I don't want to play some 3-line Lex in some super odd world. Right. I don't even know what's going on, and I love all those guys, and I respect them, and they're great. I'm just saying, I am validating, but because I really like, do what you got to do. Not for me, not right for me. I don't have to prove myself. I know what I did. I know.
But I think that they would have had you coming in on Supergirl, though. I think that.
But they already have a Lex Luthor.
So they were gonna. Oh,
so they have a Lex Luthor on Supergirl. So
that's terrible. So
I love John. I really do love John. John was on the podcast. He's great. I love him.
He's great.
It's just not.
So they weren't even gonna. So you were just gonna be like what Tom Welling was doing.
I guess.
Oh, you know what?
They wouldn't even tell me.
Let me tell you something. I saw it. You didn't miss out on shit. Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for you.
And people ask me, would you play Lex again? Absolutely. In a heartbeat. If it was the right thing. If, the only thing that upsets me, truthfully, is no one's ever asked me to audition for one of these movies as Lex Luthor. They cast Eisenberg, love Eisenberg. Worked with him, great actor, did a movie with him. Kevin Spacey, love him. All this stuff, I get it. Gene Hackman's my favorite. I think he's the best.
He was the best.
He was the best. By the way, I had a fan come up to me one time. He waited in line 20 minutes for a signature and goes, hey, Gene Hackman was the best Lex Luthor. And I go, I know, right? And he's like, yeah.
But they rarely do that anyway, though, by the way. They rarely take the person from, wait, let's move this like this.
You don't like that sound?
Yeah,
I want to do it one more time. That sound.
Come on.
Yeah, but let me finish that. What I'm saying is, I don't care that they're Lex Luthors. I'm not asking for the role. If somebody did it for 7 years and a lot of the fans, and I'm feeling it, it's not like I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I'm reading this shit and I see how much the role did for people. Audition him. Just let me read for it. Let me just show you what I could do. Let me just have a read. That's all I ever wanted. I don't want the role. Let me go in there and fucking pound your face with some dialogue. That was it.
The devil's advocate on the other side of that is like, I know that
TV Lex, movie Lex.
Yeah.
No, it's crossover now. Everybody does it. Everybody's Glenn
now
Close is doing TV. No, I'm talking.
No. I'm talking. No, what I'm saying is, this Lex that people know is from a universe, and everybody knows about that universe in their head.
No, I was talking about the Eisenberg role.
No. I know. No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if I would want a Lex that you have stuff in your head connected to, and those things aren't there. It's like when you're watching the Marvel universe, okay? So what they did was they combined all the movies. So now in our heads, the MCU is a complete thing. So when I'm watching a solo Thor movie and shit is going on, my mind is like, where's Iron Man? Where's Black Widow? Because they're in this universe. If there's an alien attack, these people should be here. Okay, so that's what was wrong with Dark World. Right. So what I'm saying is, if you're Lex Luthor on the screen, Superman's Tom Welling in my head. It's gonna be hard to
I disagree.
Well, but I think that's the thought process by it.
I don't know why, because now I'm more of a. I mean, many people would disagree, but I'm more of a man. I was a kid when that show ended many years ago. So how cool would it be as I'm a young guy? I left the show when I was, 35?
Yeah, but you look the same.
Not really. But you shave my head. I'm older. I got bags under my eyes. I'm a fucking, I got experience. Now you put it together and you put me on that screen. 0% chance of anybody not watching it because I'm the Lex Luthor. 0% chance. I know. I'm
not saying they're not going to watch
it.
But I get the thought process.
What that I'm like to a new generation that all of a sudden he was on a show back that he ended in 2008 for him.
Hey, the fans are the fans.
12 years ago, but I think the fans disagree. I think the fans do want me.
Okay. I'm just saying,
or at least an opportunity to do it.
Hey, I would have wanted you to do it, but I'm just saying I understand why they
like this.
They rarely
no one ever
that.
talks this shit with me. Really.
I'm just saying nobody
getting hard. Hit me hard.
I'm just saying nobody. They just rarely do that. It's like when they're gonna make a Flash movie, they didn't ask this guy from the TV show to be the Flash in the thing.
Well, I know what you're saying, but
I want you then. Maybe you need to go rewatch some scenes where I lose my shit.
Dude, I'm with you.
I'm just saying,
but
it's a different category. It's like but my opinion. Maybe this is just me because I know how good I think I was, and that doesn't sound humble. I don't give a fuck. You just told me to be.
Yeah. Be yourself.
I'm saying there's no reason I shouldn't be up for that role.
Okay.
Ever.
There it is. Let's put it out there.
You ask anybody who watched that show. I'm telling you. And I wouldn't say that unless I really thought it, and you could feel it.
Yeah.
If I thought, I'm not delusional. I'm not going like, I was really great in that role. And like, no one saw that. You weren't good. I know enough over the years from just fans and letters and Screen Rant articles and other magazines and deadlines saying I was the best Lex. And it's obvious that a lot of people have this same feeling. So to back my own ass up, I'm saying I'm talking about what I have felt, what I feel. It's just one of those things where my confidence inside knows. And I'm, by the way, not hurt. If I never play Lex again, I don't care. That's not the point. I don't care. All I'm saying is if there's
care a little.
No, if there's an opportunity where you're auditioning a Lex Luthor, it's stupid not to at least have me read. It's just stupid.
I feel you, man.
That's all I'm saying.
No. I feel you, I think that, and I appreciate the candor.
My openness.
I appreciate the candor and the openness of you saying that.
Well, it's something I've never really expressed like that, but I just feel like after all this time, it's time to like kind of say, hey.
Well, even like. I think that
this will be good for your numbers,
not just
in the podcast,
not just you, but I felt like you and Welling should have been the Superman and the Lex Luthor in the movie.
Well, I think
when they did that movie that what's his name was in Roth, that's the one.
I just think they made a mistake by not taking advantage of doing a Smallville movie right after it ended, or a Smallville, because I think it would have done really well. Yeah. I've talked to Welling about
like him as Superman. Yeah, exactly.
But look, I don't even. I know it sounds probably like my whole point of this thing is I know I was Lex Luthor for 7 years. I know I did a great job. I'm confident in my work. I know I could destroy it if it was something more, not so bubblegum.
Yeah,
something more. Yeah, because when I watch stuff, I try not to judge. But Lex, I was always methodical. I was always, and bless the writing, bless Alan Miles, bless all these guys. But it was part me, it was part them, it was part the way it looked. But what I did, I felt like it was Lex should always be thinking 10 steps ahead of you. Yeah. He shouldn't be crazy like the Joker. He shouldn't be whatever. When he loses his mind, everybody goes, whoa. It's like my dad. He's real quiet. He goes, I don't want you to fucking do that again. And then I'm just like melting. I can't even move. And Lex is like that. If he fucking finally, all this stuff, he's very composed. And that's how I always felt like the character should be. Everything's fine. He could lie like nobody. He's brilliant. And that's the Lex Luthor that I think it will work. That's what people want to see. And I don't know, whoever plays it, I know there's a lot of great actors that could kill it.
Yeah.
But that's the direction. So when they have that actor, whoever that is, the director needs to, they're as responsible just as much as the studio and the actor. Lex Luthor needs to be fucking cool and calculating and have just an underneath darkness that when it comes out, it is maniacal, but not flashy. I want to win an Oscar.
I get what you're saying, man. I like it a lot, what you're saying here. I think that the DC universe is better they've been better on TV because they've just failed in the movies.
I haven't watched a lot of stuff. I felt like
trust me, take it from me. They're failures.
For DC movies?
The DC movies are just,
I don't know, Batman.
Wonder Woman was okay.
There's some great Batmans.
I'm talking about
Supermans.
I'm talking about since the Christian. And by the way, with Heath Ledger dying, that monkey wrenched the whole thing. I wasn't a fan of the third one. I thought that was a ridiculous premise.
Half Face, or what's that guy's name?
Yeah, Two-Face and that one.
That ruined it. Yeah, well,
it just the whole. Awful. I'm just saying they unfortunately that happened, and it was an unfortunate thing for of course Heath Ledger was great, but it just in terms of for the movie makers that was that sucked for where the direction they were going to go. So after that movie, then they started all this other stuff, and look, they can't keep a Batman, they can't keep a Superman. You know,
But to defend them,
You
I
know,
will
it's like
defend them.
it's a
Just
tough-
saying this, I'll defend them, and I'll defend Marvel movies only because it just takes one. It takes one Travolta in a Tarantino movie to put him on top. It takes one great DC movie to change the whole landscape. And when they get the right people and they get the right script, and they don't have the desire or have the they're not, what's the word, when you're compulsed to, like, it feels like I gotta put a movie out every 3 months.
Well, I think they were trying-
3 months, 3 months. Do you remember when Batman came out and we knew we had a 6 months or a year before maybe Back to the Future came out, or these big movies, and now every fucking week there's one of these movies, and it's just the same thing. So there's a few that are great, but when you're throwing out the same shit all the time, not shit, but sit on it. Sit on it.
okay.
Develop for years like they used to do.
But
Wait,
that's
and
what
then
the Marvel universe did. I mean, Marvel did it right. They planned it.
Marvel has done it right.
No, they planned it out. It was like they knew what they were leading up to.
Okay.
They built up to it.
That's
and
right.
then they had a great actor. They had Robert Downey Jr. is just absolutely fantastic.
Right.
He carried the whole thing. And then these other people caught up with him, and they even made a couple of shit movies in the middle, but it serviced the overall story.
It's the Sputnik mentality. I
You know
just
what I
made
mean?
that up. It's the Sputnik mentality.
How so?
It's the Americans are going to get a man in space first. No, fucking Sputnik was just there, and it's like we got a race to get these movies out. We got a
Exactly.
race to be the top, and what's doing is the quality suffering.
What on the DC side, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Because and I think that, so they come out with this like Justice League and I think they did it just because we got to compete with the Avengers, and it's like, no, you have to build up who all these characters are. So they did it with Wonder Woman. That was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. That's just me. I enjoyed it.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I enjoyed.
I didn't see a lot of them, so
No, but I enjoyed Wonder Woman. So she was a great character. It was a great movie. And then you have like you're gonna put Justice League together, and you have these characters in it. That who's Cyborg? What's his story?
he was on an episode of Smallville.
You're this weird Flash. He was. I just didn't like how that. I love that actor, but I didn't like how he played it.
Eric, you know what's funny?
What?
I'm hearing you go on because obviously you're a nerd like me.
Yeah.
But here's what's funny.
What?
I never read comic books. I was never a guy that watched that stuff. I watched Superman because I loved Gene Hackman and Christopher Reeve. I'm a horror movie fan. That's what I watch, and I watch documentaries. When I got Lex Luthor, people were like, "Oh my God, must have been a biggest dream." I mean, I didn't know anything about Lex Luthor. I think
that's so interesting.
I think that's why it made it work, because I didn't watch movies. I didn't look at anything. I remember going, "Play it real, man. Play it real. Learn the lines." And I remember just be.
You're like the guy that played Dumbledore. He never read Harry Potter, and the people were furious with him.
Was he great?
He was great as it.
Of course. So
You know
what
I
would he
mean?
care if
So
he
I,
read
okay,
something?
so I hear what you're saying to me right now. Is like, yo, I'm not really a nerd like that in terms
No, I
of
am a nerd.
the
I went
DC. No, I'm not.
DC.
In terms of the comic books and stuff like that. So I totally get that. But that's an interesting thing. Anyways, just the point I'm trying to make is that it's just I think that they misstepped in like what they were trying to do to try to compete with these things, and now it's like it's all scrapped. It's like it's all to shit, and so they're gonna have to start over again. So,
But again,
and maybe when they start over again, they're gonna be like, let's bring in Rosenbaum.
do you know what it is? This whole thing is Hollywood is built around fear. Everybody who works in Hollywood, they're working for some producer. Even if they have an idea, they're going to see what everybody else thinks first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of, unfortunately, when these movies are made, like The Last Jedi. I like the last one.
Yeah,
The
because
J.J. Abrams, but
they had to fix a lot of shit.
But The Last Jedi, the one before it, it's just like how someone didn't look at this movie or read the script and go, floating Leia? How that wasn't stopped is just like...
you know Bobby Lee?
Bobby Lee been on his podcast the most 4 times.
Bobby,
I love him.
Bobby is like, I think I've been on it 4 times also.
Oh,
so.
fuck you, man.
Just so you know, FYI. But like Bobby hates that too, that she was floating.
It's just like,
Well, she had Jedi power.
I guess.
Are you a Star Wars nerd?
I am a Star Wars nerd.
Well, we can shift. What do you think of these new 3?
What do you mean the new 3, the Jedi and
The
then
3
the
that
Rise
just
of
came out,
Skywalker?
yeah.
I thought Force Awakens was a valiant effort, and I thought it was fun, and it was good, and I like that he used JJ used a lot of practicals, and it felt fun. It almost felt like watching the first one again, but for a newer generation, and even like for an older generation. So there was a lot of greatness in that. The second one just shit the bed.
Yeah.
I don't even. There's nothing to talk about. There's a guy that rants on it on YouTube.
Yeah.
That is the funniest fucking thing. It's him screaming and yelling and commentating through the whole movie, and it is dead on right. And you know, and then the third one, I was with a group of people. And we watched it a couple weeks ago, and I cried, and I go, "Wow, I liked it."
I cried too.
And
There was 3 times I cried, and I was like, "But I'm in the theater like this. Fuck, am I crying at Star Wars?"
But
for?
nobody else really liked it. And then
Yeah.
a few days later, they saw it with their kids, or they saw
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then they all text me. They go, "Rosie, I like it now. I love it." So I think, I thought now the Mandalorian. I'm not all caught up, but the Mandalorian,
I love Mandalorian.
You know, the first 3 were great, and I felt like the next 3 were kind of. What I don't like is, especially in horror movies, you don't need big stars. You don't need big stars in Mandalorian. You don't need anybody. And in fact, I'd rather watch a bunch of people that I have never seen in my life before, because that's just cool. Because that's what Star Wars was, except for the leads.
Check it out.
Well, I just
Can I
got my
say
point.
something to
Yeah.
you? And that's why you get a different Lex. For that same reason you just said.
All right, I agree with you.
That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point. I'm not, but my whole point there, you fuck, if I can call you that, was that, you know, it's just like, just audition him. Maybe he'll do something so crazy
I get
or
it.
so brilliant that we'll go, you know what, let's
But
go with him. People are going to like this.
all I'm
That's
saying
all
is, all I'm saying is your thought process of why you want to see no stars in Mandalorian is the same thought process of why when you're starting something new and you want to establish your own thing, it's like you don't want anybody remembering anything. Anyway, that's all I'm saying.
But wait a minute. But they should cast Jesse Eisenberg. But they cast.
I know, but he's
what?
He's not in the universe.
It doesn't even matter. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who's playing the nerd in this and playing this, and I know it's acting. Look, this is I know what you're saying.
you're
I don't
heated.
disagree with what you're saying, but I don't agree with it.
I know.
It's tough because
I don't. I like that. You don't disagree, but I don't agree with it. I get it.
I think it's just for me.
I don't want to keep you going down that rabbit hole. So get back
There's
to
no rabbit
Mandalorian.
hole. Am I on a rabbit hole? I kind of speak my mind anyway. I really don't give a fuck. I really do.
I like it. I really, like I
just
said,
like-
I appreciate.
It's just about
your
respect.
honesty.
It's like, you know what? If fucking you're auditioning for the new Superman, you know what? Here's what I would do if I was the head of studio, just for shits and giggles.
Bring them all in.
Bring them all in out of
Yeah.
respect. I
Yeah.
brought them all in so they could
Yeah.
just go say they tested. They
And
tested for it, and it's also respect. Hey, they had me read.
Yeah.
God, wouldn't that be good if people really felt like that?
But there are people out there there are actors out there that would be like, can you believe that they asked me to audition for a part that I played for 7 years? There's a process. There's people that would think like that too. So,
Never.
So you can't win.
Dude, nothing's beneath me. I don't.
No. I'm not saying you.
I know.
You are saying, bring me in. I want to read.
Right,
I'm
right.
saying there are other actors who would call that disrespect.
Right.
So you can't win for losing.
I think I was saying more about like, you know, and by the way, again, I love Jesse Eisenberg. It wasn't like, I'm not saying anything about him. I'm just saying.
Oh, you hate him.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm saying that it's contradictive. You know, it's contradicting to say that, you know, well, because he's a name. So if you're going to, I'm saying, okay, if you want to go with a no name, great. I'm saying Mandalorian for Star Wars for something that's so old. That's so old.
Yeah.
And there was like, you don't need to distract people with this new series when you see like, oh,
Well, no, I know what you're saying, but let me give you another example.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Dane Cook.
Love.
You know, you had him on your podcast. I had him on mine. He's a buddy of mine. But I remember talking to him about. I was on a show. I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime. It was about comedy in the 70s. It was like based off the Comedy Store. So I was on that show, and Dane was. I was talking with him one day.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could tell Dane was a little bit like he wanted to be on the show, right? And I remember saying to him, you can't be on the show because you're Dane Cook. You know what I mean? Like when people see that, no matter how good of an actor you are, it's a show about comedy, and you're seeing someone who was larger than life in comedy, and that's going to be a hard, you know. So
Really? Because Jim Carrey.
he wasn't on the show. He just produced the show.
Oh, he just produced
Yeah.
it. He didn't do some.
No. That was his other show.
Oh, yeah.
So it speaks to what you're saying about like, you know, you have in the Mandalorian, because I was a no name. Nobody really knows who I was. You know what I mean? It was my first dramatic role. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you had these people who were like not as famous, because if you have somebody super famous who is known as being a comic, it's going to be a hard thing to like for when the people are watching, they're gonna be like, oh, that's unless this show's about him. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is I know what you mean about like in The Mandalorian, where it's like, we don't know any of these people. We've seen some of them before, like the dude from Breaking Bad. It's like I feel like, he's like the bad guy. Have you seen all of them?
But here's the difference. This is gonna break your point.
Oh, here we go.
The Mandalorian are like 30 minutes long or something.
22 minutes. Yeah.
They're 22 minutes.
Even less than that.
And I'm talking about
like
these
there's
random
more.
faces that show up. The reality is, whether it's whoever's playing a role in a movie, everybody's judging them the first 10 minutes till that person, whoever it is, sells them.
Yeah.
And when they sell, in other words, if I was playing Lex and all of a sudden 10 minutes and wasn't that the guy who played it? But it doesn't matter if I'm great. It doesn't fucking matter. But when you're throwing 22 minutes at them, and then they're just seeing random faces show up that takes them out of this world, like some comedian or some that just kind of, and it's just for me, that's different than someone portraying something and then you getting to know him, then you're there. You're with them, and he has an hour and 40 minutes to fucking
But the
rule.
Mandalorian, they had, there's a bunch of people I know on The Mandalorian.
That's what I'm saying.
They had Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
He was great.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
They had the guy Asif. He was great. There's people on there that you like recognize, and
You don't think it takes you out of it at all?
No, because it's kind of cool.
Is it?
Because Star Wars is such a nerdy thing that it's kind of cool that you're going like, oh, here's this person I know from here, and we're plopping them in the Star Wars universe. So it's kind of like interesting to see that.
I'd be on Star Wars in a second. So it's kind of that's.
Nah, because they'll be like, what's Lex Luthor doing? I'm kidding.
But what's Sam Jackson doing? What's you can name 50 million actors.
Oh, by the way, I agree with you. I thought that was all not like. Listen, there's only been 3 good Star Wars movies: Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. The rest of this stuff has just been utter nonsense.
The sequels could get just thrown away, and people go, "No, what about Sith?" I'm like,
no, utter nonsense.
Just
maybe Rogue One.
That CGI, if you watch it, is just like, oh my god, I just can't do it. But I think, Mandalorian's great. I really do. Great. I watch it. I like it. It's a, this is like the Jawa stuff. They to me, it's like that's Star Wars. That's practical. I'm seeing the sand crawler with these.
I know. I love that they're using a doll too.
Oh, dude, and you're like going, oh my god. I feel like what it is. It's nostalgia for the old guys.
Yes.
That's it.
Very much is.
I think Seth Green said something once. He goes, we were talking about Jar Jar Binks, and he goes, I asked George Lucas, what about Jar Jar Binks? And he said, it wasn't for you. It was for children. like C-3PO was for you when you were young, which was a really valid point.
Yeah. I don't buy it. Go fuck off. No, I'm sorry. I'd tell him that myself too.
You say Lucas, fuck off.
Yeah, George Lucas, fuck off. You're that was terrible. You know what I mean? It was terrible. It was ego. That's an ego answer. No, you sucked in those 3 movies. You sucked as a writer. You sucked as a director. You sucked. Sorry.
But he gave. Let me tell you something.
Sorry.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay.
One of my favorite directors. Like,
you watching Servant?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you piece of shit.
Here's what I'm saying. Signs. I loved. Village. I loved.
Me too.
Sixth Sense. I loved.
Loved
and
all
then he
3 of
made a
those.
bunch of movies that everybody hated. I'm like, does that make him a terrible director?
No.
It doesn't. He's a great fucking director who hasn't made as great of movies as he did.
He missed the mark.
So Lucas is still a fucking genius, and he's great.
He created something that's gonna last forever. I love him for it. He's the Pope of Star Wars. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he had some those 3 were just
fuck up.
He missed the mark.
Ups.
He missed the mark. And sorry, he needs to like be like, damn it, I missed the mark on that.
Yeah.
For him to be like, well, it wasn't for you. It wasn't for anybody, dude. Nobody likes Jar Jar Binks. The whole movie was like full of like weird racial things and weird like stories. The worst child actor in the history of acting. Okay.
Anakin.
I don't even have to say, exactly. That guy, I don't even know how that guy got the part. Like it's as if his family has something over George Lucas. Okay. It was like they had a tape.
You have some.
I'm a
hatred.
super nerd. Yeah, because what I'm saying is you take something that you love so much, right? Mm-hmm. So like Star Wars is from my childhood. I remember Return of the Jedi was the introduction of THX sound. So it was the first time I was in the theater and it was like, You know what I mean? You're in the
Right.
theater like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was just like the most,
How much money have you spent on Star Wars?
Ugh.
Do you know how much money I've spent on action figures? And even to this day,
See,
I
I'm
buy
not an action figure
I
guy.
buy things all the time. I buy things. I love Star Wars. I just love it. And
I have a buddy of mine like that, a comedian named Edwin San Juan. He has a room full of Star Wars stuff. He's a collector like that. I'm not a collector.
DiCaprio owned the entire set, everything of the original trilogy, everything. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to sell it. This was years ago. I remember I was talking to him and I was like, really? How much do you want to sell that for? But I think it was like a couple $1 million at the time.
Sorry, you got to drop something.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I got to drop something, drop a name. Well, the reality is you're not talking like, you're bragging, but it's like you meet people. I used to play the Bond on the Nintendo, whatever, with him all the time. I love him. Great guy.
Yeah, that's where I'm sure you met a lot of
We didn't even talk about my podcast. I'm going to bring it up. Eric. So fuck you. I've given you so much gold.
It was time
Your fans could at least fucking.
Yeah, we got like 10 more minutes
All right,
if we want to
fine.
get a solid
No,
hour.
I'm just fucking.
No, dude,
I feel like I can fuck with you already.
I
feel like
you can.
I feel like I gotten to know you because I didn't know you because you didn't come really up to me and I was like nervous and I was doing all my stand up.
Yeah.
But now I just feel like you just.
I want you to come back.
you're
I'll
just a
come on
dude.
yours.
I
Whatever.
love it. Yeah, done.
Yeah,
You're a
I
good
like
one.
just talking about. So what I feel with you is like, yes, we're talking about Lex Luthor, we're talking about this stuff, but I feel like if we wanted to talk about other things, anything, we'd be able to get into a nice
Politics?
back and forth.
I don't like
Sometimes,
politics. Nobody
I don't like politics.
I don't think
either.
the people will go to a politics podcast. If they wanna
go
hear that.
there.
They don't want to hear this shit. They want to hear
Maybe a
some
couple of
fun,
opinions, but that's it.
Yeah, this is what they want to listen to, or they'd go to politics.com or some shit.
And I did want to talk about the crazy chick from your show, but I guess we can just let it go. We'll talk about it another time.
Yeah.
Like you probably talked about it ad nauseum.
I really haven't. I've kept things close. Theo Vaughn brought it up. And
Yeah, I saw that.
he kind of like.
And I was impressed that you went to his podcast dressed like a hobo.
I know. Yeah, I didn't know it was on camera. I didn't even know it was.
This motherfucker had shorts on.
Yeah.
When you walked in right now, I was like thinking, like, what is he gonna look like? Because I thought that was like your
I gotta
thing.
I gotta start doing that. People are starting to tell me, man, hey, that suit you wore on Instagram, you look really good. You should start dressing better.
Yeah, you look like a cool dude. You're
well,
cool.
I just
You
am
got
so
bell bottom corduroy
They're
pants
not bell
on.
bottoms. God dang it, man. They're just normal. They're normal JC Penney's. I'm gonna cut you with a plastic knife. Oh, damn, I did stab you with that shit. Sorry.
Fucking Lex
I
Luthor
wasn't
over
wearing
here.
my glasses. Lex.
You auditioning for the next crazy part?
Maybe.
I don't know, man. Like, so you have your podcast. Tell me about your podcast.
All right, look.
Give me this goddamn knife.
You don't trust me with a plastic knife?
No.
You're not
I'm sure you've killed people with less.
Maybe. It started out as somebody was just trying to get me to do a podcast. You do a podcast. You got a good voice. Do a podcast. And I was like, nah, do it, man. You make money. People make money. And I'm like, all right. Well, then I realized, it's a lot more difficult. And I realized
it's a
I didn't
fucking
really know
job.
what I was doing in the beginning. I didn't really know what I was getting at. And then all of a sudden, I fell in love with it. Like, I feel like if I can make enough money doing my podcast, I won't do anything else because I've helped people. It was like I said, it was therapy for me. And I talked to Dane Cook, and he's talking about his brother, and how he stole from him. And I'm talking to Jennifer Love Hewitt, who doesn't love herself, and Kristen Bell, who's depressed and who has depression issues. And I'm talking about real shit.
God, I gotta drop a lot of shit right now.
Well, they're on the podcast.
Just
Clear the desk. And then like Rainn Wilson talking about like he's like, I'm not my work. And I remember him stopping me like 40 minutes in and going, hey, we haven't even talked about The Office. And I go, you want to? He goes like, no.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
So like I said, I think it's become something really special for me and the fans.
Must be tough for like someone like that. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier, though. It's like that's a sort of like even more iconic character that like people will always reference him as that. It's like the guy that plays Data on Star Trek. What's that guy's name?
I know who you're talking about it.
Because I did Blunt Talk with Patrick Stewart. And that's another show I was on.
Name
Thank
drop.
This work drop. Really, you piece of shit.
I didn't know I was on the mic.
You didn't
talking.
feel the mic. And so he was talking, he's always Data. People are always coming up to him. But then he goes, you know what though? I got a big house in Malibu. I got so there's like there's the give and take of it.
Well, he said,
but you're trying to be a human being and it's hard not to be like that,
Well, he was talking about Rain was talking about like because I was an asshole. And he talks about that and his, how he got through it and how he was a perfectionist and it was always about being great. And I was like, oh my God, I can relate to this. Please, please. Many guests, they've asked me, like Kevin Nealon, he goes, I feel like am I your therapist? Is this for you? Is this podcast for you? And I go, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I learned so much about these
Human
people
nature.
and by the way, one that's coming up, an actress or whatever, somebody had a panic attack on my podcast.
Oh.
And
You keeping it in? That's good content.
well, I told this girl, I said, hey, I'll cut it, but I think it's important. And they were like, hey, let me come back. And we finished it and we talked about it and it's going to come up and it's amazing.
I had a comedian.
It's amazing.
She was
you
retelling
guys should
the
listen
story.
to this, please.
I had a comic, Angela Johnson was on, and she started to cry because she was remembering a story of like being like like a sort of Me Too story,
Yeah.
So I was like, I just was sat here and like, what are you supposed to do, So it's like, yeah, I mean, I think there's something bonding about it. There's something like and I think like being a performer, being an actor, like here you are. We've talked once in passing too.
Hey man, how are you? You're funny. Oh, thanks. You too.
That's about it, right? And then like I've talked. Bobby's told me about you, by the way. Bobby's like, oh, he's great, So, but it's like, you sitting here and like I'm like, hey. I feel like we've known each other for a long time.
I
feel
don't
like
hold
we can
back,
talk.
as
Yeah.
you can see. I just kind of
But I think that's the nature of like what we do. So
I used to worry, like, I don't want to sound like an ass. I don't want to sound like this, but just say what you want to say.
And once you're doing so many podcasts, like, over and over, like, every week, you're like, at this point, how can I guard myself? You know what I feel like? People spend so much time holding up a mask of like, to not show who they really are. That energy they expend holding up that mask, if they would expend that energy just being themselves, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, man, it's taken me a long time. I would get anxiety attacks on sets.
Really?
And no one would know, and I'd play it cool. And it tormented me. And it was, and now I feel I'm at a place where, if I'm having anxiety or something, I'm just going to tell everybody about it. Like, hey, I feel like I would look at you and go, Erik, I'm having an anxiety attack right now. So I'm a little uncomfortable. I think I could do that now. And I think what that does is it opens it up. It opens up the channels through to your listeners thinking, hey, oh, he had some success. And he was Lex Luthor. Oh, he gets anxiety the thing that we're sharing is we're just being ourselves and showing everybody that, look, we're not perfect. We're not. We fuck up all the time. And it normalizes, I think. It helps normalize mental health. And that's what we talk about on mine. And
so mental health is like a big issue for you?
It's not. It's more. It's fun. It's like I ask questions. I feel like I'm like Stern's amazing. He's the best in the world at this. And, I just feel like I don't interrogate people. I just like to go down wormholes. Like if there's like, well, were your parents cool? And they're like, yeah, well, my dad was. So anyway, and I go, no. Well, what was with your mom? And then we still keep going down there and in a comfortable way. Like,
no, I get you.
Well, what does that do as a child with your developmental stages? How did that make you feel? Do you feel like that has any? And we start talking about stuff and all of a sudden an hour goes by and it's real and it's relatable. And it really doesn't matter because people have heard every story. Go watch Kimmel if you want to see somebody on late night television.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear real shit, this is why podcasts can be great.
Yeah. Well, I even feel like you're, even from when you first sat down here, I feel like you're even more comfortable from the beginning to now in terms of like the questions and how we've been talking about things. Because, you're a pleaser, I can tell. You know what I mean? You want, it's like.
Sure, you want to make people happy. You want to give them what they
yeah.
want. And it's like my whole life I've been doing that. I'm learning slowly to sort of decompress and go, you know what? Let's think about what I want.
Yeah.
Not all the time. You got to look out. Sometimes you have to just, And by the way, this year or last year, it was a big year for me because it was like I am part of so many charities now, hands-on. I really think if you want to change your life and change others' lives, go somewhere where you don't think about your fucking self and hang out with some kids who are going through leukemia and do a movie night at the Ronald McDonald House or go to Food on Foot and stand with the homeless and talk to them and watch these organizations that really work and help people and disappear from your fucking life for a minute.
Yeah.
And these are the things that start to help you. And it's by being grateful, dude. And everybody will say there's no secret. The secret is there's no secret. The secret is be grateful, be happy with what you got. And I truly, truly am. And I don't think I was always that way, but I've learned that's the only way to live. It really is. If you want any happiness, you got to be grateful.
Man, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you came on and talked about this. And that's a great way to end. I mean, I just feel like it's a good message. I wish you all the best. I have your number. Let's start doing the thing.
It was a sneaky way too. It was like, call Erik and he'll let you in. He'll come downstairs. I'm like, oh,
what's funny about that? It's like when you're like, another way people do this now. They go like, oh, you're taking a picture. Hey, can you text me that? That's what I love about AirDrop. Like, you ain't getting my number.
Yeah. Do you ever notice? This is something that bothers me. This is a non sequitur. But you ever get a random text? It's like, hey, what are you up to? And then you say, oh, sorry, I got a new phone. Who's this? Because that's the excuse. I got a new phone. Who's this?
I don't believe that anymore.
And
you have iCloud,
and they don't respond, or they, look at really, and then they don't respond at all. And you're like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
I don't have your fucking number.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. I didn't put your number in my phone.
Your mother! You fucking... I don't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will have all of Mike's information. Do you like being called Mike, or are you a Michael guy? You seem like a fancy bitch.
My friends call me Rosenbaum. A lot of people call me Rosie. Mike. My dad calls me. Well, my dad calls me Michael. My mom calls me Mike.
I get Griff a lot. People call me
Griff.
Yeah, because Erik Griffin, they call me Griff, or like EG, or it's like we get called a name and then nobody calls us that name for the rest of our life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I used to get called words like Rosie Palms.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when jerking? You remember when you're a kid, like you're like, you jerk off.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, is that bad? I do. Am I?
I kind of like Rosie.
You're gay.
I like.
I
like Rosie
Maybe
Palms.
I am. I used to think when you're a kid and there's not like internet or anything. When I grew up, it's like everything people said about you,
dude. Imagine.
I was horrified. It was terrible.
Don't you wish we? I think I would have been. I think I would have been terrible if I had the internet. When I was 15,
you masturbate. You're gay.
Just knowing, like, what does that mean?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Erik Griffin masturbates like.
Oh, that'd be on the internet
compulsively. Yeah, on there.
Okay, I've had you enough. This is Michael Rosenbaum, and all his information will be below. Check out his podcast,
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Check it out, guys.
Inside of You, and then make sure you also.
Show you love.
And if you're go on, because you can watch Smallville on someplace,
Hulu,
right? Hulu.
It's pretty much everywhere. If you want to catch
everywhere. It's a great watch. I'm telling you,
it's fun.
Go watch Smallville if you want to. Just that's a great. You'll zip through it. And this guy was fantastic on it. And let's start the Rosenbaum as Lex again hashtag.
I put my foot in my mouth.
Yep.
Now it's gonna be everywhere. Erik Griffin's podcast. Yeah. Rosenbaum throws a fit.
Rosenbaum reads for Lex hashtag.
They just take a little excerpt. He flipped out. They didn't show me going, haha, just kidding with you. No, that's not what I meant. It's just.
No. If people watch this, they're gonna know that you're a genuine. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your openness. I look forward to having you on again. I appreciate you coming over to the west side of town.
This was fun. Fix your leak. Fix your hole.
No, it's not my leak. It's a leak. You know what? Let's not have my business all in the street. Okay. How dare you?
I'm gonna tweet your address right after this. So Erik Griffin, you want to go to 259 Bungalow 7 in the.
You know what? By the way, another sequitur, or whatever you call it.
Non sequitur.
Yeah. I had a neighbor once that was like, he just tweeted like, "Guess who lives in my building?" I was like, I tweeted back, that guy probably doesn't want people to know that. Like who
you
are
should have been like, no, I don't. Fuck you.
It's just so ridiculous. Like people just don't realize that. Like
my mom's lives here.
It's so stupid. But anyways, thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin. Please subscribe, share, and I'll see you next week.